Alright, guys, so today we're going to be talking about one of my favorite movies in the Halloween franchise. This one's top three for me, definitely, and that is Halloween 3 Season of the Witch. There's a man right there, Tom Atkins. Yeah. So, this movie is long considered the bastard child of the Halloween franchise, and years ago, I was on another movie channel where we ranked these movies, and the guys told me going in that, hey, Michael Myers isn't in this movie. So I went into it with an open mind, just knowing that he wasn't going to be in it and enjoying it for what it was. And I actually told the guys back then, I really, really like this movie. So you got this man who's been chased and killed in this hospital, and the doctor there, Dr. Chalice, played by the legendary Tom Atkins, the original panty dropper, the OG, the pimp. He suspects foul play, especially when the guy who did the killing blew himself up in the parking lot. The next morning, the guy's daughter shows up, and she's this beautiful woman played by Stacey Nelkin. He was a toy store owner, and the place that made these masks that he was holding there in the hospital when he died is up in this place called Santa Mira, California. And so they go up there, and the movie really takes off from there. They pose as tourists, and they get into Silver Shamrock Novelties, run by a man named Connell Cochran, played by the late, great Daniel Herlihy, and he is awesome in this. There's a scene later on where he's got Tom Atkins, Dr. Chalice, tied up, and he's telling him his plan, and he's standing back in the shadows and just kind of looming, and he is the living personification on screen of Mr. Burns from The Simpsons. It is amazing. The plot to me in this movie is just a little bit messy. They've stolen pieces of Stonehenge, and they made these chips for these masks that they're going to commit mass genocide on the youth of America who's out Halloween trick-or-treating. And so the story's just wild, and I've never seen anything like it. The closest to me might be Invasion of the Body Snatchers, but this to me is a much wilder movie than Invasion of the Body Snatchers. So to finish off the plot, it all comes to a head there in the factory, and Dr. Chalice kind of saves the day, or does he? This movie has a very ambiguous ending. It ends in the same gas station it began in, and all I got to say is the first time I saw this movie and it got to that ending, I was like, holy cow, they had the balls to do that. That is awesome. A+, just for that just apocalyptic ending for this thing. So the audience reception to this movie was just outlandish. It's a Halloween movie without Michael Myers in it. That was the whole thing. John Carpenter and Deborah Hill did not want to make, another Michael Myers movie. They had definitively killed him off in Halloween 2, which is another movie that I really like and we'll review on this channel. So yeah, they went with this. They were going to go with a horror anthology series, like every year put out a different horror movie, and this was the first one. Unfortunately, we didn't get the second one, which I heard was a ghost story, so that might have been cool. And for years, Tommy Lee Wallace lived with this being a flop, and up until he did like It for TV, where he kind of made a name for himself. And I'm glad that people are starting to finally, in the last 5 to 10 years, come around to this movie because, this is definitely one of my favorite Halloween movies. I can remember watching this movie for the first time, getting ready to review it for the Macho Movie Madness channel, and I remember just sitting back and just taking in this little universe, this spooky town of Santa Mira, California, and liking it. And then at one point my daughter comes in, and at the time she was probably maybe 10 years old. She comes in right as little buddy is falling to the floor, with the mask on, and the snakes and spiders and crickets are coming out of his mouth, and she looks at me and she goes, "Dad, that is awesome." And I'm like, right on, child, right on. So fast forward a few years, this is August of 2022, and Alamo Drafthouse here in Springfield, Missouri, which is right down the road from me, about an hour and a half, they're playing the movies of 82. So I actually took my daughter to see this thing on a Wednesday in the middle of August, which was just kind of strange to see a Halloween movie in August, but it was up on the big screen. It was amazing. I wish I could have saw it back in 82, but I was like 3 years old. And I will do a ranking of the movies from 1982, just like I did the year 1986. To me, that might be one of the greatest summers ever in the history of cinema. I think I'll do the entire year. This movie's definitely going to be on that list. So I really like the town of Santa Mira. Dr. Chalice's character, of course, is great. Stacey Nelkin does a good job with her character. I've mentioned Dan O'Herlihy. I really like the suits in this movie. The robots, they're super creepy. The way it's lit by Dean Cundey. There's a whole lot to like about this movie, and I don't understand, just because Michael Myers isn't in it, how people are like, ugh, I don't like this movie. I even like the opening credit sequence, how it's different. They ripped it off in Halloween Ends, which I really like that music there, how it's different, and they didn't go with the Halloween theme. I would have played it on the guitar, but it's just strange and synthesized and weird. There are a few things in this movie that I have a problem with. The end scene with Stacey Nelkin's character, to me, that's just dumb. Why do that? You know, I'm not going to spoil it for you, but to me, that kind of ruined the end of the movie a little bit. She should have been with him there at the end, in my estimation. As I said, the Stonehenge thing was kind of weird, but you have to get the power of that chip from somewhere. So, but this movie is very special to me, and I'm glad I got to see it in the theaters. And ranking this thing, man, how do you rank Halloween 3 Season of the Witch? Goodness gracious. I'm going straight 8 on this thing. It is definitely an underrated movie. I think everybody should watch this during Halloween. It masterfully captures the season, just this spooky vibe. I think it's underappreciated, although, like I said earlier, it is starting to get its due, and I'm really happy for that. I'm happy for Tommy Lee Wallace for that. And yeah, check out Halloween 3 if you haven't done it. It is a lot of fun. No, it's going to be weird, but yeah, it's definitely worth the wild ride you're going to be going on. So I hope you liked the review. As always, remember to leave a like and a subscribe. Give me a comment down in the comment section. This is Andrew. I'll see you down the line.